Hi ladies. Since we have been on the floor quite a bit lately, I wanted to flip it around and stand up and do some standing work today. And a reason I like to go into warriors is because it's a great way to practice building strength when we are in times of stress. And it kind of helps us prepare for those battles that we need to face, so to speak. Those battles in life, in business, in just stress, because that's kind of the world that we live in. Let me adjust this just a little bit so you can see the mat. There we go. When I did my test, you could see it. Now my head's cut off. That's all right. We'll still roll. All right, so for warriors, actually to start, let's come into our standing mountain. All 10 toes pointing to the front, shoulders relaxed and down, and then lengthening up through the top of our head. And we'll just find our breath right here. So feel free to close your eyes and simply observe your breath. Now, as you breathe, allow the ribs to go in a full circumference. So as you inhale, there's this circle of expansion around your body. And as you exhale, that circle comes back in. But it's the whole body, the front body, the side bodies, and the back body, all moving in and out. Excellent. Let me turn sideways so you can see what's going to happen. Let's move into a few forward folds. So we're going to inhale up. And on our exhale, we'll extend into a forward fold. So I'm hinging from the hips. I want to keep my spine long, and I'm resting my bottom ribs on my thighs. So my knees are bent to support my upper body. Hands come either to the floor or the thighs. And from here, we're just going to let our head drop and relax, taking tension out of the neck and shoulders. Go ahead and shake your head yes and no. Let that tension release. Taking our breath in, bending those knees, pressing into those feet, and rising up. So now we just connect with our breath. As we exhale, we swan dive and come forward into a forward fold. Bending those knees, inhaling to rise. And coming into our forward fold one last time, inhaling to rise. So there's heat in our legs at the moment. Excellent. So let's go ahead and take our feet out wide and our toes point out. So we'll move into a sunflower and a starflower. Moonflower, starflower, they're both kind of called the same. Or sunflower and star, moon are the same. So I'm expanding so my body looks like an X. Hips are rotated out, knees will point toward my toes, arms extend up, and I'm really open, ribs lifting up into my body. Inhaling here. As we exhale, we come into a sumo squat. So my knees are tracking my toes, and I'm pulling my elbows into the side of my body. Now, if you look from the side, they're actually kind of coming toward the back, so I'm engaging my lats. So lots of strength, lots of fire and energy in this pose. Fingertips really wide. Press into those feet. Inhale to stand. Exhaling as we lower down. Inhaling to rise. Wonderful. We'll do 2 more of these. Now notice when you press into the feet, notice if one side kind of pushes first. So for me, my right foot kind of pushes, so it's kind of like this when I'm in slow motion. See if you can even that out. Press into those feet equally and rise straight up and down. Beautiful. Now a little change. Instead of coming into that sumo squat, we do the same thing, but our hands actually brush the ground. Inhaling to rise. So the same thing with those feet. Exhaling as we lower down, press evenly into those feet and stand. So our practice today is kind of an energizing one. This might be one that you want to do in the morning so that you're not waking up or staying up in the evening. Just a little FYI and a little heads up. Or if you just need some energy in the middle of the day, this would be a good one. So this time when we lower down, go ahead and bring your hands just below the shoulders and go ahead and rotate the feet. So now your toes are pointing to the front like train tracks rather than out like this in a V. Excellent. So we're in a standing straddle. So just like the standing forward fold, my legs are wide and I'm just hinging from the hips, supporting myself on something, whether that's the floor or my thighs. Preferably the floor in this one so that your body weight isn't, or so that your back isn't having to support your body weight. Soften your knees as much as you need to and let your heart sink forward, let your head drop and breathe full and deep. These kinds of poses are called inversions when your head is below your feet. There are lots of different ways to do it. We can be upside down like we are now. We can lie on the floor and bring our legs up overhead. That's another way to do it. But these are really, really great poses for getting some oxygen to some different places and for giving the central nervous system just kind of a little bit of a break. Lots of good things come from inversions. And a practical thing is like if you just need to look at something differently, be creative, get upside down and look at the world a little bit differently. Little metaphor for life there. Taking our breath in, let's go ahead and bring those toes back out. So I'm turning my heels in, sitting back, inhaling to rise. Now give yourself a moment here. Whew. Let things kind of re-stabilize. You might be a little dizzy, so take a breath, shake out those legs. And let's move into our warriors. So I'm actually going to face you so you can see what's happening in my hips and my feet. For warrior 1, I'll turn for warrior 2 in reverse and triangle. But for warrior 1, I want you to see from here. So go ahead and take this leg, take it back, but notice that my toes are at a slight angle. If that grips your knee or your ankle, you can turn it straight. But a little bit of an angle is what I find comfortable. My hips should still be facing the front. I don't want my hips to go like this. So my hips should still be pointed to the front. Now I'm going to sink into this front knee until it's right on top of my ankle. And I can tell right now that my calf is tight, so my heel wants to lift off. If that's what's happening in your own body, it's okay. We're not going to worry about that back heel being all the way down. If it can be, great. But if it's just not there today, don't stress out over it. It's not worth it. We're just observing where we are at the moment. Rotating on around, hands to heart center, and we lift the heart to the thumbs. Excellent. Now if you'd like, you can also raise those arms overhead, slide those shoulders down the back side of the body. Keep the heart lifted and lengthen out through that torso. Now to ground ourselves in those legs, let's press into that front big toe and that back heel. Lots of stabilization and balance right here. Excellent. Taking our breath in, exhaling as we rotate around. So now I'm coming into warrior 2. My hips should face front if possible. Now as I rotated, make sure this knee didn't turn inward. Keep it right on top of that middle toe. The hips we want to be level. If your hips kind of rotate this way because you don't have the flexibility in your inner thighs and hips to rotate and keep your knee open, it's better to go this way than to do this because this is too much stress on the knee. So if you have to make a choice, let the hips rotate, all right? So my back foot is pointing this direction. This front foot is pointing this direction, if that helps. Sinking into that front leg, extending out through those arms. And now those arms are strong like a spear, as if we were holding a spear across our shoulders. So imagine that you're pressing down on beach balls, and you can look down and gaze, a little eye work here too. Gaze toward your pointing or middle finger on your front hand. Lift up through the top of the head, the belly is pulled in, and we're breathing. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and move into reverse warrior. So I'm just turning that front palm upward, taking my back hand behind my back, gazing into my palm here. So what's happening is my ribs are opening. I'm not turning. My ribs are fanning open. So it's still like I'm between two panes of glass. But here's the trick. We don't want to rise out of it. This is what people will do. Stay down in those legs as you open the ribs and lift the upper body. One more time. And exhaling as we come up. Let's straighten that front leg. We'll move into a triangle and then we'll go to the other side. Arms extend out. Let's glide the ribs and then turn a cartwheel. So let's rest our hand either in front of us on the floor or on the inside of our calf. So we're using a lot of core strength right here. This is what some people will do, is they'll turn so that they can get to the floor, but that's really not the intention of the pose. We really want to open the side of the body. So if that means that we're up here, in order to do that, let's actually take this top hand to our hip for right now, or to our low back. If that means that I'm up here in order to do that, that's fine. This is a perfect triangle. If that means I can actually come down, but my shoulders can stay back and my hips can stay back as if I'm touching a wall, as if a wall is directly behind me, then that's great. That's the ideal goal for this pose. Taking one more breath in and out. Let's reach the top hand up, wiggle those fingertips, and use that to pull you up. Excellent. Shake out your legs because they worked. They might be a little on fire right now. Think of all that strength from isometrically contracting, meaning we were holding the pose. Beautiful. Let's try warrior one. So this foot steps back this time. That foot's at a little bit of an angle. We're sinking into this front knee. Heart is lifting up to the thumbs or extending up. Let's pull those ribs into the body, hips straight to the front. And just observing our breath. I'll try not to talk as much this time, but there's a lot of little body alignment things to understand in these poses. So I just want to make sure that all of that gets communicated. Let me turn sideways so that I can show you the adjustment for warrior two. And on that next exhale, rotate your back foot. You can even heel toe it out a little bit. Sink into this front leg. Knee is pointing to the middle toe rather than flopping into the big toe. If your hips aren't completely square, don't worry about it. They can angle a little bit. Extending out through the arms as if you're trying to touch each wall and then gazing down the front hand. Now sinking into that front big toe, back heel. Lovely train in the background, right? Rotating that front palm up, back hand comes to the low back, and we're opening up through the ribs. Just gazing into the palm. If that bothers you, look ahead. If you lose your balance or that makes you feel unsafe, look ahead. Now notice if you came up out of the pose. I just did a little bit. So sink back down. Beautiful. Returning to warrior two. Let's straighten that leg and move into our triangle. Gliding the ribs, rotating around, softening this knee. Try not to lock it out. Try to soften that knee and rotate those ribs around and the heart around. Now let's bring this hand to the hip so that our shoulder isn't compromising here. Or the low back is fine too. Excellent. Take a couple more full breaths in and out. Reaching that hand up. Wiggle those fingertips. Use that hand to pull yourself up. Beautiful. Go ahead and shake those legs out. Ease out of that however you need to. Let's do a little balance for today. So go ahead and choose. Let's set this leg down. Let's try tree. So opening this foot to the side, resting my heel just above the ankle. Hands come to heart center, lifting the heart to the thumbs. If and when you're ready, you can always come back to this. Always come back to this to stabilize. When you're ready, you can bring the foot to the lower leg, or you can bring the foot up to the thigh, but please avoid the knee. And if you fall out, just come back into whatever you are able to for today. So you might be doing this. It's okay. Now, if you would like, you can grow those branches and lift up nice and tall. If that's too much, just keep those hands at heart center. And when you're ready, ease out of that pose. Take your time. Excellent. Let's try it on the other side. So stabilizing, grounding into this leg, turning the knee out. Lifting the heart to the thumbs and gliding the foot to the lower leg or up to the thigh. And just know that we might be different from one side to the other. Our bodies are not symmetrical. So it's no big deal. Hello, whoever just popped on. And when you're ready, go ahead and grow those branches. Either Hannah or Elena. Elena? Yes, hello, Elena. We're just doing a little balance for right now. And when you're ready, come on down. Ease on out of it. Let's take it down to the floor for just a little bit to kind of wrap it up and bring ourselves down. That was pretty intense and energizing today. We did a series of warriors. It's so good to see you. How was your trip? I do converse in my yoga classes, so this is normal. Let's go into a butterfly. Feet toward us and opening up those inner thighs. They've done a lot of work. Let's just let them relax and open here. No strain, just a relaxed kind of butterfly. If you can hinge forward, great. Really good. I'm so glad to hear it. Are you feeling rested back up now that you are home, or kind of back in the groove now that you're home? Need to get back. Yeah, I find, sorry, I got to read a little bit more back in my routine. Yeah, that's how I find myself, Elena, and I don't know if it's something that as we age or if we just kind of recognize that it takes a while to get back in sync after we've been traveling. Because it generally it throws me off for about a week, and then I get back into it, but it is what it is. That's just kind of life. So let's take one foot out, turn toward that straight leg, and come on down. Let the heart be open and kind of keep that back straight if we can. Regardless, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that this might be your lunch hour, huh? Glad that you're joining in. Not yet. Okay. Yeah, oh, next week I read that one. And let's go ahead and sit on up. Let's take it the other way. Other leg out. Tuck that foot in. Just turn toward your straight leg. Keep both hips on the ground, and we'll send the heart forward toward our toes.